So like, do you have to hit these dudes up all the time to come skate the ramp, or like, do you guys just like have access to their backyards at all time?
Just bug the shit out of the homies.
Yeah, that's got to
Pretty
be kind
much,
of annoying,
man. It's
right?
like I like kudos to Elliot and Bob and all the dudes that have let myself and all the fried ass homies come over for the past like however many years, and like have to deal with who knows how many texts a day from not only like the good homies but randoms that want to come and give the mega a go. It's like much respect to those dudes.
Is it like a certain time, like, hey, we do it like Tuesdays and Thursdays, or just like all time?
I just feel all the homies are on their own schedule, so it's like,
well, I mean,
normally
for
just tapping in with him and just being like, yo, you skating today? If he's skating, like, cool, mind if I swing by?
Well, he could be on a trip too. He's got other things going on as well.
But he's like been such a gangster about letting the homies come, and like I've spent an insane amount of time over at Elliot's, and so shout out to him and Tabitha, all the pups. Love you guys.
We're looking at footage right now. This is Elliot's ramp right here.
Yeah.
And how do you even know where your landing is? Look, I mean, you're spinning. how do you know? Like, how do you not get dizzy? How do you? I mean, obviously you're spinning so many times, you're used to it, and you can spot the landing. But
that one was kind of like a bit of a one-off. Like, I've only really ever done like a couple 900s in my life. Okay. I was never like the kid that had them dialed at all. Like, this is probably the third one I ever did, and I always wanted to do an alley-oop one like this, but the ones before I was doing them just like straight up and down, and I was doing them mute, and it was just like a Hail Mary. Like, I was seriously, both times I ever did it, I just like ate shit for 3 hours until one of them worked.
Was the first one at Woodward? Did you do that one?
Yeah, when I was a little grom, I don't know, 16 or 17.
But you have more air time, right?
Yeah, like so for sure. Like so that like helps. But like the first, I did one at the Mini Mega at Woodward, and then one at Bob's as well. But they were both just like such a battle, like just ramp. Like I didn't know. Like, I'm not like, if you watch some of the other vert skater homies, like if you watch like Mitchie. Yeah. It's like a gymnast on a skateboard, like his spin technique. I'm just like wind up and huck that shit and hope that it comes around, and like that's kind of how my first 900s were. It was like just literally smoking my shit for hours until like one just happened to work.
You gotta
but
get a
this
feel
one,
for
man,
it, though,
I was
right?
like, I went and just like randomly tried a couple one day, and I was like, it's a different grab. I'm doing like a melon grab versus like the ones in the past were mute, and I think that's probably what like changed it all. But I was like, man, I can see what I'm doing.
Just by changing the grab.
Yeah, like the grab's you're a bit more open, like a mute grab, your face is all in your chest, and like, I don't know. And I was like, man, this actually makes sense. So I called up some of the homies, like, yo, I really want to go film this shit. And it was like maybe 8 or 10 tries, like,
I wouldn't even
that day that it worked, because I was like, actually felt confident in like putting it down and being like, oh, like I bailed a couple that were like, why did I even bail that? Like, should have just stood up. Like, I was staring at the ramp. Why did I throw that away? And so that one like worked out, and I was like, man, I just blew it for so long, like just destroying myself doing this stupid mute 900. Like, that was so unnecessary. I was like, if I'd have just tried one melon, I'm sure like it would have all clicked.
Why didn't you just try? Why did melon come later then?
But is the mute like a normal? Is that how everybody does the 900? Is mute grab like? Or I didn't even realize there were different grabs. For
that's like how like the first 9, that Tony did was mute, and
standard issue maybe.
It's just like, I think I learned mute 540s first before any other grab, and like it's just like the way you wind up and spin, it's just like kind of there, like it's the easiest to grab.
Interesting.
And so it was just like that made the most sense for me.
Did the alley-oop?
But I would do alley-oop 5s, but only melon. And so that's where I hit like this weird like mental block, where I'm like, well, if I want to do alley-oop 9, like it's gonna have to be melon. But I was like, I don't know if I might just get stuck in the spin and get lost. Like, so it's like super stressful, like to go for like the first one. And then I swear, like I said, after the one try, I was like, dude, all these slams I took, like doing these blind 900s, like just might as well have had my eyes closed. Like, why did I do this? Like, Melon made so much more sense.
You landed it perfect.
So the alley-oop approach felt easier.
Yeah, like, and you know, in my head, it was like, I don't know. I just was like, always wanted to check that one off. Nobody at the time had done an alley-oop 9. And I was like, ever since I was a Grom, I always loved doing alley-oop 5s. And so I was like, man, I like got to do an alley-oop 9 at some point. And now, like, kids are doing them like back to back, to back, to back.
But they're smaller, right? There's more. It's like a little ball they can get into.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, it's
we're
like
tall grown men,
compact.
right? It's hard to like
for sure.
It's harder to spin. No?
Yeah, but either way, you know, it's like I wasn't doing that shit when I was 9, like some of these kids are. You know, like I trip on some of the young kids. I'm like, how do you like? What is this regimen that they're on, or how are you training them? Like, I was like wearing like sweatpants with my knee pads over the top, doing like early grab Christ airs, fly outs onto the deck at this age, you know, bone, like literally running and like acid dropping down an 8 stair. Like that's what I thought was dope. You know, I'm like, how do these kids even comprehend a 900? Like I was doing the corniest shit when I was that age, you know. Like,
how old were you right here?
Probably 16. See, this is what I'm saying. I was just eating shit until one worked, and the one that worked, like you can tell, like I'm like halfway up the other side of the ramp, and before I'm like, oh, cool. I'm rolling away actually.
Yeah, this is at the Woodward, PA.
Goodness.
Broke my leg trying 900s. Seriously? Like before I ever made one. Yeah.
Really?
I landed on the deck at the mega ramp at Woodward West.
No.
Yeah, just right on the coping. Classic.
Like a bad snap or like just like a fracture? No, really?
Yeah.
There you
go. That seemed like it was like slow mo right there. The way you got around, but it got around.
Me and one of the filmer dudes, like that, you know, I spent a lot of time growing up at Woodward, and so I spent a lot of time with like digital media crew because campers would come in for a week and then bounce, and I would be there like all summer.
Right.
So I, you know, made some homies that were like working there, and like this whole process, we like had this goofy saying like huck and tuck. That was because literally that's what I was doing. Like there was zero like strategic approach to it. It was just like, all right, today's the day.
Just go for it.
Yeah, and I remember like one of the counselors at the time like gave me shit and was like, just called me out on like never making a 900, I think. Wow. And I was all, fuck you, bro. I'm doing that today. It's like, it was literally probably on like the back of the golf cart. Take me to my cabin. I'm getting my knee pads now. You know, like, I'm gonna show you.
Like he could do them either. You know,
yeah. It's like, hey, but he lit the fire. You know,
hey, sometimes you need that.
Yeah.
Definitely helped.
Yeah. Would you take that approach to like all your skating, or just that the huck factor? Like, do you just
that
try
is like
shit to
literally my skating in a nutshell. Is just like, I can cross your fingers and I was never like super technical with skating, you know, like some of like my friends are just like super structured, like analytical, like it's pretty crazy, you know, like how some people break down skateboarding.
Totally.
And I'm just like, man, just fucking send it.
Yeah.
You know, like, I don't know.
Like Jamie,
only one way to find out.
Like
you know?
Jamie Foy is like super calculated.
Yeah.
He doesn't take any. He's like he takes calculated risks.
Yeah. And if like Mitchie, like I kind of brought him up earlier, but
Mitchie Brusco,
like if you watch the clip of him doing the 1260, which is like still to this day in like makes zero sense at all, but he does it like so perfect, like spots his landing and like he's all tucked up in a ball, like his spin is like immaculate, like it's perfect. And then you watch me do like a 9, is like a whole 360 less, like my arms are flailing, I'm like lost, you know, like this is insane.
Oh wow,
it looks fake.
Wow.
But you could actually see him spot the landing.
Look at his reaction. There's nothing on his face.
Let the clip roll. I love him enough, so I'll give him some shit on this. But like he comes down, I'm tripping, dude. I'm like losing my fucking head, and I come out to hug him, and he's just like he pushes me.
He pushes you away.
It's classic.
No.
It is so funny.
He's like, oh, cool. Is he like even happy?
Dude, I think he was maybe like going through some weird shit at the time, and it was just like, I don't know. I think he just like almost maybe did that for other people.
Did push you a little.
You know?
Was that
or something like he was just like,
has he been? Is that the first time he ever landed it?
yeah.
Okay, so he did it live in front of everyone. That's probably like a big.
Wow.
Dude, he only tried the trick 5 times ever.
Really?
Oh no way.
Yeah, he tried like 2 in China. 1 year at X Games, and then 3rd try at this X Games.
3rd try.
That's amazing.
Like
That's unbelievable.
insane, dude. My whole like I said, the whole 360 lesson, my 900 process was like years. A broken leg, like I had to battle that shit. But he does a 1260 in 5 tries.
It's interesting because like what you said, like he's very calculated, and you can actually see him after all those spins.
Yeah, right here. Like he's looking
he
for
knows,
the
like,
landing. Okay, this is where I'm gonna land and
He's-
everything.
He's not even. I mean, he's already landed it before he landed it.
And man, like I've like said this to people before, but I could, and I say this pretty confidently, like I could very well die before another grown man does a 1260 like that. Like
Seriously.
Right.
maybe one of these little Groms that's like tiny and just a little fidget spinner type shit, like maybe one of them, like, but they better do it quick before they grow up.
Yeah.
Like for him at his size and everything to do that is like unreal.
It's
And
also
he wasn't really skating at the time. I lived with him for a while. He wasn't really skating much, which was
Really?
insane. Like he was just like cruising, playing video games for a minute. Like, and I didn't see him for like months. I lived in the same house with him, And then we were like in the car one day and he's like, oh, X Games is coming up. Like, oh, well, like, I guess if I like put in this many hours, like had this like specific number, like I'll be ready to go by then. And I'm like in the front seat. He's behind me. I'm just like buddy's tripping, and then shows up and does a 1260.
That was the one that he did it at.
Yeah, like he's a freak of nature. Like one of the most talented skateboarders ever, in my opinion. Like he just like it just clicks.
He does a bunch of like trainings, like
he's been doing this thing, Skate IQ.
Skate IQ.
Where he's been traveling a ton and doing like coaching a bunch
But he puts YouTube videos out.
But he's like the perfect guy for it because like, dude, he'll start breaking down a trick for you, like even if you're trying, he's like, oh, this and that. I'm like, he just thinks of skateboarding like I said, I'm a very like just hope for the best type of guy. But he like breaks it down to like the smallest like foot placement and your shoulders and this and that, and he's like the perfect guy to be a coach.
I'll watch his YouTube videos.
Dude, I'll watch him and it's like how to kick turn.
Yeah.
I sit there and watch the whole thing. Like, damn, I never thought of a kick turn like that.
And I'm watching it too. I'm like, I almost believe I could do it. Like he's that good at like explaining.
Me and all my boys like have a joke. Like, I'll never forget it. He's like, he was doing switch 540s and we were just tripping on it. Like, damn, dude. And he's like, oh yeah, switch 540s. I'll get you on that shit. I'm like, thanks, but no, dude. Like you can't. Like
you can't
I'm not doing. Like
that, yeah.
I'm not the guy. Like I'm gonna get lost in the air. Like, but he is the guy for it, man. And shout out to Mitchie. Shout out to Skate IQ.
Yeah,
I love seeing what he's doing, man.
Cool stuff.
Great human.
When we